Welcome to the Embarcadero Community Podcast for Monday, January 12th, 2015. I'm David I, and let's take a look at what's happening for developers in the Embarcadero community and in our industry as a whole. This is our new community website, community.embarcadero.com. If you haven't been here before, go to the website and take a look at it. There's the home page where you have featured articles, upcoming events, latest news, and so on. You can also go to the blogs menu and see recent postings from our product managers, product marketing, and members of our development teams. We have an answers module where you can post questions, and community members and employees will give you responses. You can see the list of all questions that are asked, any new ones, and unanswered, resolved, most answers. You can also look at the most popular or just look at the latest answers. Under the articles menu, we have tutorial articles, tips, tricks, and techniques, articles on the database development tools, support articles, and news articles as well. Finally, we have a menu item with the link to our web-based forums where you can communicate and collaborate with other members of the Embarcadero community. On the news page, we've got news for developers, including the announcement of new developer skill sprints. We'll get to those in just a moment. We put out news flashes for our database and developer tools, so the Embarcadero Database News Flash 2015 has shown up. And you can also look at other news items. A couple of news items to highlight from last week. We have a hot fix for Delphi and C++ Builder XE7 to take care of some issues we found when Android 5.0 or Lollipop appeared. These have to do with fixes we needed to do the JNI bridge to get into the operating system, so you can download new updated interface units and just rebuild your applications for Android. We also have the same thing for app methods, so you can go to the community articles and get the information that guides you to how to do this update by downloading the updated interface units and putting them into the install directory. And again, this hotfix addresses issues with FireMonkey applications on devices running Android 5. The issue prevented array data from being properly exchanged between native code and the Java API. As Serena says here, the most notable symptom of this issue was that images on FireMonkey forms would not be displayed on devices running Android 5 and could cause application terminations. So download the hotfix interface units. In the industry, last week was the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. I did a blog post about some interesting announcements both in the health, fitness, and medical area. Intel, during their keynote, also announced a new button-sized wearable computer, the Curie. So here's the size of it, this little Curie module, which is a whole system on a chip for running Intel applications. Pretty cool. Check it out. Also, lots of new fitness devices and health devices were announced. Really cool things to let you explore. And with our Bluetooth low energy, Bluetooth 4 support in XE7 and that method, you can get to a lot of these devices that provide a Bluetooth interface, including a cool skin thermometer patch that you put on. Lots of other activity tracking devices, including heart rate activity in this Zensorium being even tracking your mood. Tau Wellness Isometric System, wellness watches, new activity trackers from Garmin, and so on. Even a biometric shirt for kids and teenagers from Exoskin. So all of that check out in my recent blog post. On the events page, which you get to by clicking on the upcoming events heading on the home page, or you can bookmark the events page. This is where events that are scheduled both online and live in-person events will show up. In particular, some upcoming online events, the ER Studio Best Practices demo on January 14th of this week at 11 a.m., and then alternating each week with the DB Power Studio Best Practices demo taking place, the next one on January 21st at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're interested in what we're doing with data modeling and with database development, check out those alternating database tool events. We've also announced a next round of developer skill sprints for RAD Studio XE7 throughout Q1 that'll start next Tuesday, January 20th, and run till just near the end of March. So check out all of these events, lots related to building multi-device apps, look and feel of UI, parallel programming, using JSON and REST APIs, interface XE7, and so on. So check out and register one time. The landing page for the registration for the skill sprints is here. Enter once, and then down at the bottom you can set which of the sessions you want to join at 6 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. Pacific time. We also have scheduled a RAD in Action. These are more in-depth, very focused webinars. This is the Revolutionary UI with Fire UI at 6 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're trying to build multi-device applications and you want to make sure you have the best user interfaces using Fire UI and XE7, that will be covered in this RAD in Action event on Wednesday the 28th. In the blog area of Embarcadero Community, we have the latest blog posts by members of our team, both in our development teams, our marketing and product management teams, and our field evangelism teams. So you can always come to the blog area down here, or you can go and search for bloggers that you'd like to follow. And so a couple of recent blog posts, the intrinsic value of data modeling. It's a video that you can take a look at, and there are additional videos that came from last year's Data U online event. So check out the intrinsic value of data modeling blog post. Also, last week I blogged about the announcement of the Delphi Developer Days 2015 tour. This is with Ray Konopka and Carrie Jensen, two most valuable professionals in our community. They're going to be hitting 4 different cities: Chicago, Amsterdam, Oslo, and Frankfurt in the April-May timeframe. So go check out my blog, or just go to www.delphideveloperdays.com. Get all the details, the agenda for the 2 days of intensive training, and the locations and how to register, and the cost for the 2 days of training. So everyone who's come to these 2 days of intensive training, they not only come away with the 2 days of intensive training, but they also get a course book as well as all the source code examples for the sessions, and also the ability to interact not only with other developers in those towns, but to spend a lot of great time with Ray and Carrie. It's well worth the time, well worth whatever the cost is. Again, they're coming to Chicago and Amsterdam in April, and Oslo, Norway, and Frankfurt in May. Also, I put up a blog post to categorize last fall's Code Rage 9 C++ track sessions. So you can check out sessions if you're interested in the different areas of programming, Fire UI, modernizing your VCL apps, database access, parallel programming, enterprise mobility services, devices, and so on. So there's a nice way to look at the areas you're interested in, and then the links to YouTube video replays of all of those Code Rage 9 C++ track sessions. There's also a blog post with another video link, which is titled "Taming the Wild West of Data" from Data U. So take a look at Ron Huizinga's session from Data U, and how you can deal with the massive amounts of data being created every day inside of organizations. And then a final blog post. This is a great blog post by Product Marketing Manager Brian Alexakis. He's been doing blog posts on developing for the Internet of Things. This one is focused on the fitness wearable area, in particular the Misfit Shine. So Brian covers not only about the device, but also how to log into their portal using OAuth 2.0 as part of our REST client library components, and doing the authentication, and then keeping track of the information that the Misfit is generating. So check out that, and Brian also has a link to the source code project. That's on our App Method blog. If you want to follow all of his posts, he's doing posts on the Internet of Things every week on the App Method blog homepage at blog.appmethod.com. One final area I would like to highlight again is our Answers area on the Embarcadero community site. Answers is a place where you can post questions, and people will answer the questions that you post and give you help. It's a nice structured way to ask your questions very quickly and get responses. A couple ones to highlight. First, here's one: does App Method support iOS 64-bit? And Gary said they say they're working on it for AppStudio, so I assume it will eventually be available for AppMethod. And I also responded that we are definitely working on the 64-bit compiler for all of our products for iOS. So stay tuned. We know that Apple has set February 1st, 2015 as a date that App Store apps need to be 64-bit or a combined 32-64-bit. So we're working on that for you, and stay tuned for us. And while I'm in here, the question area has both a commenting reply area. You can comment on people's replies. You can also vote for a reply by using the up and down toggle. So post questions, collaborate on the answer, post comments, and vote for the best answer. A second question that came in just this morning that I saw was from Luca. He asked about using applications on Intel Atom-based tablets and other devices. I responded saying we do not currently support Intel on Android. This is something we're researching for the future, and in the meantime we're also working with Intel. Intel has this technology called Houdini. It's a library that is included in their version of Android. So you just take your Rad Studio or AppMethod Android ARM compiled applications and deploy them to your Intel device, and in many cases the application will simply work. It'll go through this interface that Intel provides to convert the ARM instructions into the Intel Atom instructions. Now it's still being worked on and updated by Intel, so you might run into certain cases, and it looks like Luca did try to take his application, but he was using FD Connection, and he got an unsupported feature report from the Houdini technology. So I just want to say that we're continuing to work with Intel to understand what else we can do and they can do to have this Houdini technology that Intel provides work with any type of Android application. So check out some links that I provided about the Houdini technology and some items that people have noted about what you might have to do. And I've sent an email to some of our team members to find out what more resources we can point to as part of this answer or an additional answer to help Luca and others who are trying to use this Houdini emulation technology for ARM instructions. In the meantime, we're doing a lot of work on next generation compilers for our mobile solutions, as I mentioned, for example, with 64-bit. And we're still taking a look and see how many devices are going to be Intel Atom based. It's still a very small percentage, so we're spending a lot of our time on iOS and Android specific devices running the ARM processors. But we're not stopping watching and seeing what Intel is doing. We're actively keeping track of what's happening in the Intel device world. So stay tuned for any additional details, Luca, that I can find out, or maybe somebody else will post an answer down here as well. Luca said, "Thank you, David," but want to see if we can give you some more information, Luca. So that's a little more about using the Answers module and about the community site. Stay tuned for next Monday, every Monday's podcast, to point you to things happening in the Embarcadero community, in the developer industry, and I encourage you to use the Embarcadero community site, post your questions, read the blogs, post comments, and take a look at what's happening in the world of Embarcadero technology for database and application development tools. Take care, everybody. Talk to you next week.